Hello everybody and welcome to Return for Reviews, back with more Hong Kong content review. Dive back into the world of Shaw Brothers after reviewing the Monster of the Shaw Scope Volume 4 collection, being primarily kind of horror, supernatural based, with some mixture of martial arts and wuxia style fighting. I wanted to get back to some basics. I wanted to dive back into the collection and to dive into some films that I thought, hey, I want some really cool martial arts kind of kick-assery, but I'd also want some good storytelling. I want some good characters. I want some intense drama. I want some of those classic kind of gimmickry kind of tropes that I usually would see in a Shaw Brothers films: treachery, politics, love affairs, over the top kind of kills, and lots of wuxia style action that is fast paced, fun, and energetic. And I think this one definitely delivers that for sure. My initial thinking was to have a little bit of fun and dive into some Shaw Brothers titles with the word lady involved, being this one's called The Lady Assassin. I will be doing a video for The Lady with a Sword, which I've heard very, very good things for. There was another film called Lady of the Law, I believe, which I've just heard so many bad things from, in terms of, being a dual director, bad production history, a messy script. I've heard very, very bad things about that film, and I heard the action and the kind of the fight sequences and the character and the kind of the revenge aspect is just not quite there. I don't know. What are your thoughts, guys? Please comment down below. Do you think I should review that one? Is it worth picking up? Is it worth trying to rent it maybe? However, for this one, we'll be talking about The Lady Assassin, released in 1983, directed by Tony Leung Chung Hu, which did the Holy Virgin and versus the Evil Dead, which is a video I did quite some time ago. I might have to revisit that film potentially. It was based on an old Laserdisc rip. It has recently got a 88 films release, a little bit a while ago actually, with the uncut version included in brand new kind of high definition. So maybe it's worth trying to checking that one out again, maybe watch a bit more in context with his other filmography. Being the fact I've not seen any of his other films apart from that initial Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead, which I didn't get much out of, if I'm being completely honest. I know his other films are involved in a lot of the Shaw Brothers box sets, I believe with the Holy Flame and the Bastard Swordsman, which is also available on the Volume 3 box set of the Shaw Scope edition. So there's definitely a few films that I already have access to in terms of the Shaw Scope box sets. Definitely as a fan favorite in terms of the director. Definitely seems to be a staple of the kind of late 70s going into the 80s in terms of these kind of wuxia style action films, but also pretty good stories, pretty good characters. I tend to see a lot of the same kind of positive kind of talking points on this director and his filmography. So time will tell if I can get more out of this director. The title itself is very misleading. The poster, I think, is also quite misleading. I wouldn't have called it Lady Assassin. I would have called it The Assassins or Dual Assassins or Betrayed, because it isn't really about this character. It does feature this character and this actress, but the film itself is not about her. That's classic Shaw Brothers for you. Very misleading titles that don't always represent what the film actually is. But it's always fun to go into these kind of ones. As mentioned multiple times on the channel, I don't know anything about these apart from the title, maybe the synopsis. I might have seen a fight scene. But I go into these films completely blind. I have no expectations. I don't know where the film's going to go. I don't know what the big kind of showstopper fight scene is. This film has all the classic story beats of internal kind of brothers and family rivalry, betrayals and murder and kind of backwards deals, assassination attempts, power control, manipulation, petty rivalry in some cases, and mixed between a kind of a political kind of power shift that happens within the film. And it's very interesting. It's a lot of fun, to say the least. It comes a blood-soaked story of ninjas, but the old emperor is on his last legs, and his most victorious and most ambitious son plots to cheat his way into the throne by taking power the easy way, bit by bit, staying on top, which proves much more difficult than proven. Essentially, what that means is you've got an emperor that is dying. You've got a very greedy son who wants to seize power, wants to seize control over that throne and become the next emperor, and you've got the hidden will somewhere around one of the palaces. It is destined to go to one of the other sons, I think on the fourth son. Now he's actually the 14th in terms of the prince involved in the story. So essentially he forms a scheme, finds some kind of adversaries, and tries to create some alliances with, seize power and gain favor for anyone he can comes across. You have Norman Sui in the film, which unfortunately did pass away early on in 2025. Real tragic, and he did some excellent films and a variety of different type of characters, some villains and heroes throughout different decades of Shaw Brothers, Golden Harvest, etc. Just a great actor, and he's fantastic in this film. He plays this kind of this like badass, not 100% on his title, but as you find out in the film, he does pledge his loyalty and allegiance to the fourth prince in terms of the film, the one that's meant to get the throne, is meant to become the emperor. And essentially he forms a bond with that person. The 14th Prince in this story essentially wants to try and gain favor from this character and to give him like power and wealth, riches, and hey, you can be the general of my army because I'm going to be emperor kind of thing. And this doesn't go his way, and there's a bit of conflict straight away in establishing who that character is and his skill sets from a fantastic opening sequence in terms of the palace where he's kind of taking out enemies left, right, and center, which is fantastic. When this fails, the 14th Prince comes across another character while riding into town, essentially played by Jason Pio, which is a great actor as well, and been in the Killer Constable, one of my favorite Shaw Brothers films, and just having a lot of fun this one, and exchange a really awesome fight scene, Wuxia style, over the top kind of fight scene in a courtyard kind of section. It basically gives him a title, gives him the same offer that was turned down initially, and makes him a general, and basically allows him to go join him on his schemes to become the emperor. Essentially what this film leads into is kind of doctoring a kind of a forgery of the original will that's been hidden away in the palace, gaining favor with some local kind of people, and making fake promises, and just saying whatever they want to hear, essentially to gain his power. They managed to steal and basically falsify it into basically giving the kind of title of the emperor to the 14th instead of the 4th prince, which was initially meant to go to. He does manage to seize this power as the film goes along, thanks to the aid of a character played by the wonderful Lian Lu, which I've seen a few of her films, I believe, in various other kind of Shaw Brothers projects, and she was also in the, I think, the Holy Flame and potentially the Bastard Swordsman from this director's kind of previous filmography as well. She is the Lady Assassin, which is one of our main characters, or supporting characters, I guess. She becomes a main leading actress in the film in the last 10-15 minutes, which is quite funny. But however, she is great in the film. She definitely holds her own. One of the things I love about this film was that everyone demonstrates their skill sets. All really top-notch action sequences, exciting, engaging, has excellent use of kind of music scoring, which is quite unique. It's definitely got that kind of early 80s kind of riff towards it, quite unique in terms of how it's placed, being the fact it's a time period kind of piece. Shaw Brothers films, locations excellent, the lighting, good staging. So the editing's really on point. It definitely allows scenes to breathe, but also it's quite fast paced when it has the more complicated kind of wuxia style fighting with characters flying in the air and throwing all sorts of kind of weaponry work in terms of the martial arts and form weaponry work. There's even a sequence later on in the film where someone's throwing a silver magic star, like a ninja style kind of thing, and it's kind of going around like the flying guillotine. Very complicated kind of setups, but done and presented so well that it's such fun to watch, and you just don't know what's going to happen next, and it's just so exciting, and I like that. It's very kind of it has a good pace towards how he wants to present those action set pieces in different ways, in different locations, as mentioned, with different characters involved, and I think it's great. And I definitely think she definitely holds her own in terms of the fight sequences, with good performances, definable characters that will have their own clear motivations and their own reasons why they're in this situation, or trying to stop something, or trying to remain loyal to a character, essentially. And they'll have their individual motivation all around the kind of the classic kind of political kind of scheme to take over the throne and become the emperor, and backstab and betray and diss and kind of become very petty, and even to the point of stripping some of their rank because they're basically laughing at them multiple times and downgrading them 17 different grades of ranking because they keep on laughing every time this kind of order has been given. It's just kind of really amusing. It's a lot of fun, and the good thing about it, as I said, is like I love the fact the film is very stylistic as well. It has some gorgeous kind of like shots in terms of characters coming out of smoke, and very kind of clear lighting on some characters' faces, or the nighttime shoots are interesting as well. And I definitely think he is very much on the ball in this one. I don't know if he goes full crazy within his other films that he's more famous for, but I think this was just the right level of kind of the classic kind of Shaw Brothers kind of gimmickry storylines, and they're ticking those boxes with the villains and the hero characters, but also making it quite unique and quite fun, engaging to watch from start to finish, having just enough stylistic kind of choices and kind of, action sequences that's exciting to watch. You don't know what's going to happen next, and it gets pretty kind of bonkers with the Japanese martial arts kind of character who comes into it midway through the film. I don't know why he's in it. He's just in it. It's kind of funny, and the stakes definitely go higher. You definitely want to see what happens next, and he definitely is a ruthless villain that you want to see get taken down. And there is some bloody justice that does happen within the last 10 to 15 minutes. And even though that last kind of 15 minutes or so is definitely a highlight of the film, the rest of the film, I'm happy to say, is just as good building up to that point. Don't get me wrong. Definitely one worth checking out and picking up from 88 Films Asian collection. I believe this one is 45 in terms of their collection, if you just want to see there. It does come with a slipcase and a booklet. Unfortunately, I missed out on that one. But you still can find them around if you look at your local HMV. What are your thoughts and impressions on The Lady Assassin? Please comment down below. See you in time, guys, down for reviews. Signing out.